Guys and gals, Neil Young wanted his music off of Spotify. Now, why would he want that? Well, I will try to explain. What happened is that Neil Young actually recently requested Spotify to remove all of his music, and they fulfilled his request. Now, he did write in an open letter which was recently deleted some time ago. He said, I want you to let Spotify know immediately today that I want all of my music off their platform. They can have Joe Rogan or Young, not both. I'm doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information about vaccines, potentially causing death to those who believe the disinformation being spread by them. Please act on this immediately today and keep me informed of the time schedule. Okay, so what this is about is that, like many people, Neil Young is not exactly happy about Joe Rogan and his anti COVID 19 vaccination status and all that sort of controversy that's seemingly going around right now. Because ever since episode 1757, Joe Rogan has been accused of spreading multiple false information on the whole COVID 19 vax and all that. So what I'm trying to say is, in Rogan's stance, he's been discouraging young people and children from getting vaccinated. But at least to him, it's fine with adults. So kids getting vaccinated, no. Adults, yes. Now he's claiming that mRNA vaccines are gene therapy, promoted off-label use of ivermectin to treat COVID-19, and spreading several unsubstantiated conspiracy theories. So why? I mean, like, whatever. I don't totally get it, you know. But on that same episode, he did host Dr. Robert Malone as his guest. Now, statements from Dr. Malone as well got his own Twitter account suspended because he was promoting numerous baseless claims, like several falsehoods on COVID-19 vaccines and unfounded theory of societal leaders have hypnotized the public and all that, and they've been discredited. I mean, what's even worse is that he's compared to the whole COVID policies to the Holocaust, which are not similar, don't make sense. Those kinds of statements are dangerous and illogical, completely illogical. And Neil Young isn't exactly the only one not happy with Spotify at the moment. I mean, there was an open letter signed, a petition by 1,000 scientists and medical professionals, not exactly happy with, wanting Spotify to implement misinformation policy in response to Rogan and the false propaganda and also harmful to society and all that. And look, I think they had a tough decision, but, it's not going to be a more likable or popular one. It's either supporting Neil Young, who's a rock and roll legend whose career has spanned to this day from the 1960s, or a podcaster, a famous podcaster, who has 11 million listeners per episode, which makes it like the world's largest and one of the more popular podcasts on Spotify. Because Spotify's streaming service, when they brought the Joe Rogan podcast to its platform, it did cost them $100 million. So, of course, when you make a more expensive acquisition and agree, to have it as part of your audio platform, you're going to make tough decisions. A spokesperson did have this to say: we want all the world's music and audio content to be available to Spotify users. With that comes great responsibility in balancing both safety for listeners and freedom for creators. We regret Neil's decision to remove his music from Spotify, but hope to welcome him back soon. Now, Spotify has removed 20,000 COVID-related podcast episodes since the pandemic. Although, and Neil Young also said, in a follow-up letter, that while Spotify has represented 60% of his streaming revenue globally, amounting to a huge loss for his record company to absorb. He wanted his music removed because he could not continue to support Spotify's life threatening misinformation to the music loving public. And look, you know what? I credit him. I applaud Neil Young. I mean, look, he only just wants to stand for what's right and he has his own principles. I get it. He doesn't want to be partnered or have his content, be shared in a brand that, at least at the moment, looks like they're willing to tolerate any sort of dangerous COVID-19 anti-vaccination false propaganda. And look, I get it. It is dangerous to support those kinds of illogical claims, but I mean, I think eventually, both parties will come to an agreement, cooler heads, have a partnership again. But I mean, look, I get it. Like, he stands firm on what he wants and what he believes in. And look, he is right. It's kind of dangerous to say things like gene therapy or changing your DNA code or whatever. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's not right. And you know what? More people should follow his example. I mean, right now, like if there's anyone that's being a good role model, it's definitely Neil Young.